Next on Worcester News tonight, the beloved president of Red Sox Nation, Jerry Remy, opens up to fans tonight in Worcester about his personal journey. Plus, a Shrewsbury woman is thanking staff at a local grocery store for their quick thinking after she suffered a medical emergency. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Anna Botari. A Boston baseball legend shares his life experiences with people in the city Wednesday. Red Sox color analyst Jerry Remy visited Percy's in Worcester for a private question and answer session to discuss what it was like to play for his hometown team and his numerous battles with cancer. Our Cam Jandro spoke with Remy today. He has more. Cam?
Anna, Jerry Remy played 10 Major League Baseball seasons. 7 of them were with the Boston Red Sox. Unfortunately, he had to hang things up early because he had some bad knees. Now, he didn't like broadcasting at first, but more than 3 decades later, you can see that story has kind of changed.
For more than 30 years, Boston Red Sox baseball has had one constant in the booth.
I love this shot. This is just a great shot.
Jerry Remy has been the team's color analyst since 1988. The former Red Sox second baseman says all these years later, he still looks forward to going to the ballpark.
And it never leaves you. You know, there are changes that happen in the game constantly, but it's still a game of baseball, and it's still a game that I loved when I was a kid.
Remy was in Worcester Wednesday, taking questions from Sox fans. The Massachusetts native says it was a dream come true to play for his hometown team.
It's all totally by surprise, you know, and I'm very fortunate to have the opportunity. You know, to think that you grew up in this area and you had a chance to do what I've done, that's pretty special, you know, and I think about it a lot.
The Red Sox Hall of Famer also opened up about his battles with cancer. Remy was first diagnosed in 2008. In August, it returned for the 4th time, but he is now 6 months cancer-free.
I went through an off season of a treatment. I still continue it now every 3 weeks, but, you know, so right now everything's good, and I'm happy it's good.
Remy started season number 32 in the booth Tuesday as the Red Sox played their first home game of 2019. The 66-year-old says he's not ready to ride into the sunset just yet.
And I love what I do. You know, people say to me, well, when are you going to retire? You know, you're thinking about it. No, I'm not really thinking about it. It all depends on my health and, you know, my performance.
Now, some interesting takeaways from tonight's event. When asked who his favorite all-time teammate was, he said the Ryan Express, Nolan Ryan, was his favorite teammate back when they played for the California Angels. He was also asked whether or not he was worried about the Red Sox and their slow start to the 2019 season. He said he's not worried just yet. Anna?
Sounds like good news for you, Cam. We know you're a big Red Sox fan. Thanks for that. 2 Central Massachusetts lawmakers introduced a bill to establish a multi-agency task force targeting illegal marijuana. The legislation filed by Senator Michael Moore and State Rep Hannah Kane aims to combat illegal sales of marijuana. Senator Moore says through this legislation, it would allow law enforcement to refer complaints to the task force, who then can assess attacks against the illegal operator.
The whole aspect of someone having to go through court, getting a criminal record, and the monies that are brought in through the assessment or the fine will go back to the Cannabis Control Commission. It will be used for municipal and state police training, a social equity fund, and also for youth prevention and programming.
Moore says the next step now is to wait for the bill to get assigned to a committee. They then will give testimony and see if there were any changes the committee wants to make. A social work conference at Anna Maria College discussed the popular topic of cannabis in our community. The conference was organized by students and gave community members a chance to understand the legislative process of decriminalizing the use of marijuana. Worcester Police Chief Stephen Sargent says he feels like law enforcement was never considered when lawmakers put new changes into effect, legalizing the recreational use of the drug.
We still have to address the black market side. It's a cash business, so we want to make sure the community's safe. There's the traffic and parking.
Worcester Public Schools Safety Director Rob Pizzella also discussed how the legalization could impact policies within the school system.
That I feel that this marijuana law was going to be a disaster to our communities, in particular children. And I think that, once again, if we were consulted along with local law enforcement and had a little bit of input, we might have given a different perspective on things. And so the law's here, we have to live with it, we have to deal with it, and that's why we're also coming out into community venues like this.
Anna Maria recently developed a minor in addiction and recovery studies and is creating a center for addiction and recovery. The Central Massachusetts Housing Alliance hosts a kickoff party for their annual Walk for the Homeless. In its 34th year, more than 22,000 people have walked a combined 82,000 miles to help combat homelessness throughout the area. The Alliance says more than $2 million have been raised, which has been put towards getting families into safe and affordable housing. The CMHA says Massachusetts is the 6th most expensive state to live in, and homelessness is a constant issue.
An opportunity to learn about what's going on in our community and learning about homelessness and the causes of it. And when we come together, I mean, we all can't do everything, but everybody can do something.
I think the biggest part of this is awareness, is letting people know that this is an issue that we all are responsible for here in Worcester, and we're lucky to be in Worcester because we are a caring, giving community.
$117,000 was raised in 2018. This year, the walk takes place Sunday, May 19th at Elm Park in Worcester. Veterans Inc. honors dozens of volunteers Wednesday as part of National Volunteers Week. According to Veterans Inc., volunteers gave 4,800 hours of service, which would equal about $150,000. Volunteer efforts include working in food services, to donation drives, and to helping organize the facilities.
Without our volunteers, we could not do what we do and fulfill our mission to help veterans in need.
The nonprofit presented 5 different awards, including the John Vallis Memorial Stand Down Award. It honors the late John Vallis, who volunteered at Veterans Inc. for years. Girl Scout Troop 11649 received the award for helping continue his work with Stand Down.
It's an honor for me to be here, and certainly for my dad's legacy. And it's great to see that somebody continued on the traditions that he started, just to make a positive impact in the community and to be able to help the veterans get back into society.
The Veterans Inc. Stand Down event, which has helped thousands of veterans and their families receive assistance since its inception, will take place June 14th. Many students in Sutton seem to be racing home after the final bell, but the high travel speeds are concerning to police, and it seems a verbal warning isn't enough. Our Chandler Walsh spoke with police today and explains.
Officer Michael McGee clocks a Sutton High School student exceeding the 35 miles per hour speed limit, and she isn't the only teen who's an offender.
They're doing highway speeds on the backtown roads here.
The Sutton Police Department is increasing speed enforcements around the school to deal with an uptick in speeding, and when the final bell rings, another is common to hear. The school also taking action, sending out a letter to all students.
We want to make sure that while leaving our grounds, and then when they're off our grounds, that they're making good decisions too. We can always do a better job educating kids.
Officer McGee says conversation alone isn't working, so they're forced to start ticketing.
I think we're at the point right now we're 3/4 of the way through the school year, and kids are still flying and not stopping at these stop signs coming out of the parking lot.
On Wednesday, 2 students were pulled over within the first 15 minutes of school letting out. One was going 63 miles per hour in a 35, and police say the same driver was clocked at the exact same speed and ticketed last week.
The younger you are and you start speeding, the more likely that habit's going to increase and be more of a part of what you do on a day-to-day basis as an adult.
The department is trying to break the dangerous habit before it's too late. McGee says a minimum fine is $105 and junior operators could lose their license. The school and department say it's all about keeping the students safe.
The last thing I want to do is have to go knock on their parents' door after school because they hit an oak tree going too fast.
I want to make sure that that everyone is okay, and one bad decision doesn't cause a major problem.
Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
A Shrewsbury woman is thankful for the quick actions of workers at a grocery store. She says she bit into some fruit and minutes later went into shock. A pharmacist at Wegmans quickly realized what was happening. Our Rosalind Flaherty has the story.
I had no idea this was going to happen. I've eaten those fruits just fine in the past.
It wasn't the reaction Kathy Musiak expected after eating strawberries, kiwis, and grapes at Wegmans in Northborough.
My mouth went numb, and then all of a sudden I'm having trouble breathing.
She took her young son and went to the pharmacy counter to get help. Pharmacist Zach Knorr recognized the symptoms and knew she was experiencing anaphylactic shock. He jumped into action, grabbing an EpiPen. It was his first time using it.
I just had to trust in the training that I received here at Wegmans Pharmacy, the training that I received in pharmacy school to act and respond swiftly.
Other pharmacy members called 911 and waited with Musiak's son.
We kind of just went into the mode of we have to take care of our patient.
Great thinking on her part to come over to the pharmacy to seek medical attention.
Within minutes, Musiak says she started to feel better. She ended up going to the hospital to get checked out. Knorr says he and others were just doing their job.
I don't want to be here. I think it was a very strong team effort on our part, and it's very happy. I'm very pleased and happy now that such a positive outcome happened after such a scary situation.
Musiak says she still doesn't know what fruit made her have an allergic reaction. She is thankful for the entire staff who helped save her life.
Zach kept me calm. They entertained my 4-year-old. If it happened at home, it would be a totally different story.
Rosalind Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
Intramural sports is taking on a whole new meaning at Assumption College. Assumption College and Special Olympics Massachusetts have teamed up to create an intramural unified sports league on its campus. Assumption College junior John Ladeau says when they started last semester, they had 14 students and 11 Special Olympics athletes, and the number is growing. Ladeau says the best part are the relationships that are being built.
Programs coming up now that we haven't seen before, so I think it gives the students and the athletes something new to look forward to, because you see a lot of these relationships being built that you weren't seeing before this.
Nichols College students are exploring the different career paths which can come with a degree in criminal justice. The school's Criminal Justice Career Exploration Roundtable networking event featured more than a dozen professionals with a background in criminal justice. Each professional was sat at a table with students who were able to ask questions and learn more about the different jobs they hold.
That's an opportunity for students to have a conversation about what that professional's career path was, what their job entails, just to kind of pique their interest and see if it's something that they might be interested in exploring.
Nichols says criminal justice and criminal justice management are their second largest majors and say they are the first school in the nation to offer a master's degree in counterterrorism.